What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? Happy holidays. Wishing you all the very best. So I'm sure you guys all thought the watch year was basically over, but surprise, because just before the end of the year, today on December 18th, the incredible Bernhard Lederer is dropping what I consider to be one of the most important watches of the year, and I am absolutely blown away by it. But first, let's say hello to my special guest, Bernhard Lederer. How are you, Bernhard?
Hi, Wei. I'm happy, thank you for asking. I'm happy because I'm sitting here on my bench celebrating with my watchmakers that we have finished the first series of very special movement, the movement what we call the CIC InVerto, and they are ready to go out for the CIC certification now.
You know, you waited almost till it was Christmas, and maybe this is your idea of giving us a little bit of a Christmas present, but tell us, what is this incredible watch, the new Central Impulse Chronometer InVerto?
It is a watch that we have created to showcase our savoir-faire, our constructing and manufacturing skills. It is a watch that must not hide anything, and therefore we turned around the movement to show the highest level of finishing of each and every component of that movement.
So Bernhard, I want to talk to you about this watch because when I saw it, I absolutely fell in love. But let's go back in time to 3 years ago when you were presenting the Central Impulse Chronometer at Geneva Watch Days. I remember walking into your room, sitting down, and you showed me the movement of this watch. And I stared at it and I was mesmerized. And I was like, oh my God, Bernhard, is this a wristwatch using George Daniel's double wheel independent escapement, but with 2 remontoirs d'égalités? And you looked at me and you said, Wei, you're right. And I have to say, from that moment until today, I have always thought that your movement was one of the most beautiful movements ever created. And of course, like a lot of other collectors, I started to dream, well, would it ever be possible one day to wear this watch with the movement facing the front? And you've done that, and this watch is mind-blowing. So huge congratulations.
Yes, as a bunch of collectors loved the movement so much and wanted also to wear the watch with the movement facing the front, I decided to create the inverted version of the watch with the hope fulfilling the dream of many.
So Bernhard, I know you're a man of your words, and when you say that this watch is the Central Impulse Chronometer, tell me a little bit about how you worked with COST to ensure that COST could certify every one of these watches actually as a chronometer.
When we gave the first movements to be certified by the COSC, we learned that they apparently had not been able to control our watches, as their system is so highly computerized and specialized only on Swiss lever escapements. But we have a detent escapement, and this, their matrix in the computer could not understand what happened there, so they sorted out our movements as being strange, not working as it should. What is very clear, a Swiss lever makes tick-tack, tick-tack. A chronometer detent escapement makes only tack, tack, tack. So already the noise of the watch was too strange for their system to understand it, and they had been obliged to reinstall a system where they now control by hand our watches as it was traditionally in the past. And of course, they are certifying that we have high-grade, high-performing chronometer watches.
You know, Bernhard, I have so much respect for you because when you create something that's real watchmaking, that really brings a functional innovation and writes a new chapter in the history of watchmaking. And for you to finally enable George Daniel's dream to have the independent double wheel escapement, which he had in watches like the Space Traveler, finally arrive in a wristwatch, it's incredible. Now for you to invert that, that's amazing. But I have a question for you. How do you certify this watch as a chronometer? Because from what I can see, there's no seconds hand.
Well, to invert a movement is in generally not a complicated thing. But what was quite challenging here was to not disturb the architecture, the appearance of the movement. This we wanted to conserve as much as possible. And this is not so easy to do. We had to make empty the center of the watch and create new components Just to give you an example, normally the axe carrying the minute hand has a length of 2.5, 2.7 millimeters. We had to create a new one, what is now far more than 6.5 millimeters long, and still has to guide the minute hand straight through the whole movement without any derogation to the side. That was not easy, but we got it, and the architecture is preserved.
What? That's crazy. So you fixed an extra long pinion so that you could have a seconds hand on the back of the movement, which was now, of course, on the back of the watch, and you used this to certify the watches as chronometers? That is so incredibly cool. I have to high five you for this. Oh man, that is such an amazing achievement, Bernhard. I really have to congratulate you. And I have to say that this gives a whole new emotional dimension to this watch for me, right? I have always thought of the Central Impulse Chronometer as one of those watches that if you're a true watch connoisseur, if you really love horology, it's a watch that you have to have because it's one of the most important movements that have been created in the modern era. But I would also say that that watch is a very discreet watch, meaning that all the action in that watch is kind of in the back of that watch. Yes, I know you've got some windows where you can see a little bit of the functioning of the watch as well, but it's a watch that from the front is apparently simple, and then in the back it explodes into this opulent, gorgeous, like technical masterpiece of the movement. But you've now created a version where people can wear that on the front, and it's incredible for me because I think you've made a huge step in the evolution of your design identity, where now the movement is kind of the design of the watch. It's the front of the watch, it's a signature of the watch, and it's so emotionally expressive, it's so visually rich. I have to congratulate you, and I want to wish you, Iwa, and your two daughters a very merry holidays. So high five, brother.
Thank you, Wei, and Merry Christmas for you.
Thank you guys for tuning in. Peace.